Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalaam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am so honored and happy to be amongst all of you, and my special thanks to our gracious host Sanjeev and Simi Mataji for opening the doors of their home and their heart to have us here today. I have known them for last 20 plus years. When they would come to the Bascom temple, it was like a small when the kids were really like very small, and they have been steady well-wishers and supporters of ISKCON of Silicon Valley. So I'm grateful, Sanjeevji, for your friendship, and thank you. And Simi Mataji, thank you for hosting us. And to those who are online, I extend you a warm welcome as well. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions about how there is a verse that says that Ashraddhadana Purushaha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. He says that Ashraddhadana Purushaha is the person who doesn't have faith. Ashraddhadana Purushaha Dharmasyasya Parantapa, who is not following this path of Sanatana Dharma. Aprapyamam Nivartante, that person doesn't achieve me. And Mrityu Samsara Vartmani is that again and again he or she takes on to the cycle of birth and death. Now, some other religions, they induce fear amongst the followers. You follow our path, you will go to eternal heaven. If you don't, then you are subject to eternal damnation. And a lot of people like it, don't like it, that kind of preaching. I mean, fear is good, but after a time, if God is just there to spite you and beat you and just hit you if you don't follow him, then how different is God from a tyrant or a dictator that's ruling the country? As long as you say Jai to the dictator, then the dictator will be happy. Otherwise, once you kind of go against, and we have governments like that in the entire world, all over the world, where they just smote you and put you in prison and worst case kill you if you go against the government. So seeing that sort of model, we have similar verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says that those who don't have faith in me, but Krishna's threat is not threat. He is actually giving a choice. You might say, God, I don't believe you. I don't care about you. Well, you are going to exist like you are existing. Krishna is not saying that you are going to go to hell. He says you just will exist like this. Repeatedly you take birth and repeatedly you take death. Birth and death will be your way of doing things. And if you like it, then you can like it. But experience of the modern world shows that it's not a happy path. It's a path that is not wholesome. Because why is it not wholesome? Because first of all, let's talk of faith. Please understand that faith has become a sort of backward word, a word that has become very out of fashion. If you are men of faith or women of faith, which means that you are blindly superstitious, you are old fashioned, you are not keeping in times. More importantly, you are just an illiterate with no rational thinking. You don't have that scientific bent of mind to explore. These are all the terms that are associated with the word faith. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, every person, every living entity has faith. Without faith, nothing will work. How many of us have taken a plane? Mate, I'm sorry, I don't get your name. Garima, thank you. So Garima raised her hand when she said, "Oh, so tell me your process of getting into the plane. Like you go show the boarding pass, then what happens?" After that, all that happens, then what happens? They take the boarding pass, they rip it, they give it to you. Then what happens after that? You come into the line and you're ready to board the, and then what you do? You enter into the plane. Correct. Go sit in the seat. But Garima, that is very backward thinking, right? I mean, how did you not check the credentials of the pilot? Did you not go and say, I'm entrusting my life to you for next 16 hours for a flight to India. Where did you actually get your training in flying? How many hours of flight have you? Are you drunk? Are you on drugs? Do we ask that question? Exactly. You just know that you buy a ticket, and Garima, I'm just picking on you, but it's all over the world. Nobody asks that question. In fact, if you ask a question, then you are actually said that this is a passenger who has been deplaned because of creating disturbance on the aircraft. And you're so quiet, you just go sit, that's it. And you are hoping for the fact that there is nobody next to you, or the next passenger to you is not really very extremely healthy, occupying 2 seats, crushing you. Those are your concerns. But your concern is never like, I should ask the flight for, that person. And then once you do that, acha, when was this plane created, built? Like, acha, so this plane was built 30 years ago. Ah, I see. Then can you show me also the maintenance records of these planes? Nobody will ask that questions because we know. Second question, if you go to the doctor, same story, but in a different variation. The doctor says you have some problems, medical problems. You have to operate, have to do operation on you, or do some, surgery, invasive or non-invasive surgery. You say to the surgeon, hey, first show me that this will work, then I'll get operated. Means, show me in the future that this will work. Otherwise, how will I have faith in you? Everywhere you can see is faith. A bird, eagles and herons and geese, they built their nests 400 feet above ground. And for the simple reason that their birds are not to be, are safe. Otherwise, serpents, animals, if you lay your chicks at this height in a shrub, a dog, a cat, anybody can jump and eat the chicks if they are born. Otherwise, eggs itself people eat, right? So they lay like 400 feet above the ground. They give birth to the eggs. And those chicks, when they are born, they can't go anywhere. They are just lying on that 400 feet above. They neither can fly, neither can crawl, neither can get their own food. The faith is that, and they live. The faith is that their mothers or fathers will hunt for food, the parent birds, and they'll come and feed them. Yes or yes. So if you have way the base, we can open the phones. Don't touch. This is just you have it on the phone. You have a tool, handy tool that we can open it, and we can go to Veda base. And we go to 6th canto, 11th chapter. And for those who are online also, you can open, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is vedabase.com. You can go on your, type in on your computers, and then you can go to chapter 11. No, 6th canto. 6th canto. 6th canto, 11th chapter. 6:11, and then I will say verse number 26. And if everybody is there, I'll actually, if you want, I can just post it on the, copy, and then I'll post it in the WhatsApp group that we have here, so we can. Yes, 6th. No, 6th canto is good for now. This is. Okay. Is everybody? Yeah. Is everybody there? Okay. Thank you. So kindly repeat after me. These are, I think I'll wait for them to get the, and in the meanwhile, you can give it, you can give the book if you want. 6:11:26. So kindly repeat after me. Ajata paksha iva mataram khagaha stanyam yatavat satarakshudartaha priyam priyeva vyushitam vishunna manoravindakshadidrikshate tvam. Okay, let's do that again. अजातपक्षा इव मातरं खगः स्तन्यं यथा वत्सतराक्षुदार्तः प्रियं प्रियेवाप्युषितां विशन्ना मनोरविन्दाक्षदिदृक्षते त्वम्. Sanjay ji, can you please do the translation?
Translation. O lotus-eyed Lord, as baby birds that have not yet developed their wings always look for their mother to return and feed them, as small crabs tied with ropes await anxiously the time of milking when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers, or as a morose wife whose husband is away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects, I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service to him.
Simi Mataji, the purport, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Nice verse. So the birds are there 400 feet. They have no other shelter. They have no other hope. And but then the faith is that somehow or other Krishna is maintaining them. And they have that faith, my parents will come back. They will not abandon me here. So in all cases, we have faith. The faith is inexplicable part of life. So for those who want to get carried away by this argument that faith has no place in modern society or technological advancement, please understand that everything in the world runs on faith. Now the bigger question comes is where you place the faith. Can I get some water, please? Just thank you. So the question is, where do you place your faith? And the place you can faith either in Krishna or in material world. And there's only two places you can place your faith. The thing is, I am this body. I don't care about, this is mythology. The spirituality, God, Atma. किसने देखा है? Who's seen? This is all mythology. But then the fact of the matter is, a common experience tells that it's not going to be forever either. If I made soul as a myth thing, then it's common observation that my body is not going to persist. Then where do you place your faith? Will you place your faith in body or in something better? And Krishna says that for those who don't have faith in me, then you come back to this world. Ashraddha dhana purushaha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrityu samsara martmani. That is Krishna's way of telling that that's your choice. But because we need shelter, yes or yes, any place, I mean, like it doesn't matter how much of uh, uh, money or power or position you have, you somehow or other need shelter in this world, and they can be taken away at any time, and then you will be left helpless, and then you will have to have shelter somewhere. You just can't say that, nope, I don't need it. And if you examine this world, one person is dependent on another, that person is dependent on someone else, and that third person is dependent on the fourth person. There is no way or there is no end to one's dependence. Correct? But then the question is, who is independent? That is God. And Krishna is mentioned in Bhagavatam as Janmadyasya yatonvayat itaratas charteshva vijñasvarat. So the very first word of Bhagavatam, the first canto, first chapter, first verse, it starts off with that Swarat. Swarat is that he is independent. There is no truth beyond him. There is no shelter or there is no place of sustenance beyond Krishna. And that is the goal that we seek for. Otherwise, everybody in this world, I am dependent. Oh, I go to work, yes, my boss is great. And, he's going to or she's going to give me the promotions, the money I need. But the boss is dependent on their own boss. So and then if the boss's boss says, nope, no promotion for this guy, what happens? So you can see how everything is dependent. And Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita that when I created this world, then I created human beings, I created demigods. And by making sacrifices for the demigods, then human beings will be happy. Rain, if you can see how the rain is a lack of rain is there in this world. So the human life gives that rare opportunity that yes, I instead of taking relative shelter, taking shelter in places or with persons who are again dependent on others, then I can actually take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this rare opportunity comes in this human form of life. Questions, comments? And if you have doubt about this particular verse, this prayer is by Vritrasura. Now, Vritrasura was Maharaj Chitraketu in his previous life. And because one day he was actually flying on the airplane, he became a very, very advanced person by worshipping Shankarshan. And one day he was flying on an airplane and he saw that Lord Shiva was with exalted saints and like Narada and Sanat Kumaras and others, and he was instructing, extremely philosophical and high level truths, tattva. And everything looked great except for one small fact. Mother Parvati was sitting on the lap as he was instructing. And Maharaj Chitraketu looked at that and he was like, he was like, look at this. What is this going on? Mother Parvati is sitting on his lap and then he is giving a lecture, so to speak. And Mother Parvati became incensed. She got offended, and she cursed Maharaj Chitraketu that in the next life you become a demon. And he was born as Vritrasura. And he powerfully fought against the demigods, and demigods couldn't defeat him. So they went to Vishnu and said, we are unable to kill this demon Vritrasura. Please tell us what can we do. Then Vishnu said, there is only one way you can do it. You have to go to the sage, Tadyancha or Dajaji. He is performing severe austerities. You need to collect bones from his body. And you need to build a weapon, thunderbolt weapon. And when you build a weapon from his bones, then only then you will be able to kill this Vritra. Even though Vritrasura was such a great devotee of the Lord, and he became a demon in the next life. And when Indra went to Vishnu to say that how can I kill Vritra? And he said, you have to make this weapon. And this verses of Vritrasura were, so then the demigods became regenerated. Okay, now we can kill our enemy. And then they go to Dadyancha Muni. Dadyancha Muni started saying, are you guys kidding me? It's like, if somebody comes, God forbid, somebody comes to someone's home with the intention to rob and kill that person, will you say, I see you have come here to kill. Okay, let me give you the combination for the safe. What is the number? And I'll give you also where I keep the knives. So you can kill me and take the money. Nobody will do that. And Dadyancha said, okay, we need bones. what do you mean you need bones? Which means I need to kill myself? What I guess he was just playing a little bit. But he said, sure, I'll give you my bones. And he gives the bones, and they build a very powerful weapon, thunderbolt weapon from that particular bones of the Dyancha. And then Indra goes and tries to, he attacks Vritrasura. And Vritrasura, he is so powerful that he takes his club and hits the elephant of Indra. The elephant is bleeding, it's pushed back to a certain distance. And Indra is like very, very demoralized. I just, what's happening here? I can't even kill this person. You know what's happening? Vritrasura is saying, come on, pick up your thunderbolt and kill me. Vritrasura could have said this, Vishnu, I had taken shelter of you. You are the one who are giving me protection. No, what did you do? You went to my enemies and told me how to kill me. What is that protection? It's like a very rich person, a very secretary goes to a very rich person says to the secretary that, this is where I keep my money, this is where I do it. And the secretary goes and tells to the robbers, oh yeah, come here. This is how, this is like ridiculous. And the same thing, Vritrasura has taken shelter of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu is telling Indra how to kill Vritrasura. You get the problem? And did Vritrasura say, Vishnu, you cheated me. You stabbed me in the back. You went to my enemies and you told me how to kill. What is this? But Vritrasura, these are the prayers of Vritrasura when he is about to be killed by Indra. And he is like, he is actually asking Indra, pick up your weapon, kill me. And the reason is Vritrasura knows that Krishna is the well-wisher in all places, under all circumstances. And even though it might be that he is giving us some trouble, troubles can come in many forms, health problems, or there could be some business problems, or there could be job problems, there could be somebody might even have legal problems. All these will come upon us, and we might think, God, why are you doing this to me? But we don't know that we are seeing this much, God is seeing infinity. So he can adjust accordingly. And so here Vritrasura's life was ebbing away. Then he said to Krishna that, please pick up and fight. And these are the beautiful verses or the prayers, spoken by Vritrasura. There are 4 verses that are when he's giving up his life. Those are mentioned here. So we'll chant those 4 verses. We'll have a little bit of kirtan and by our famous singer. And then we can have, we can break. Okay. So we'll start 2 verses from actually 20, and we can go around. Kumar Prabhu can read one translation, and anyway you can go. 24. Yes. These are the 4 verses. They are really famous verses by Vritrasura. So everybody there on 24? Okay. Aham hare tava padaikamula dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuyah. Manah smareta supater gunanste Krinita vakarma karotu kayah. You do the translation and then we can go on.
Will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes.
My words always glorify those attributes, and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship.
Thank you. This is Dasanudasa. He says that even if he's dying, he says, I don't want a kingdom. I don't. It's actually, we'll come to that next verse. And then, but then what do you want? What is that you want? And then he says, what all I don't want. 25th. Achyut Kumar, we can do the translation later. Not now. Nanakapristam na chaparameshthyam न सार्वभौमं न रसाधिपत्यम् न योगसिद्धिरपुनर्भवं वा समञ्जसत्वा विरहैयकाङ्क्षे
Haribol. O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka, the heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahma resides, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet.
So one of the things people say to the devotees is, you guys are mental, you are nuts, you're completely gone cases. You don't want anything. Okay, I get few things you don't want, like, money, kingship, president of United States. You don't want that. I get it. It's full of problems. And what's wrong with liberation? So liberation is the highest thing, moksha. You don't want that also. You guys are crazy. Something is really wrong with you. And why do you read these books that or shlokas that say that you don't want anything? The answer is, the lotus feet of Krishna are so attractively intense, and the joy you get is so unending that the devotees will say, I do not want anything. Even I don't want to get out of this material existence. If you want to keep me, that's your choice. I'm not going to even ask you for that. All I ask you is just give me unflinching, unconditional, unmotivated service of your lotus feet, and may I be attached. And we are reading Krishna book, and Simi Mataji is joining, and I'm so happy to see her that day. But because Prabhupada writes, where there is Krishna, hell becomes heaven. And where there is no Krishna, heaven becomes hell. Prabhupada writes that in that. And I thought it's because you see that when you are attached to Krishna, there is no place in the world that is not joyful. There is no situation that is not reassuring. It doesn't matter. But when there is no Krishna, even if you have everything in the world, you are bored. Even if you are the world's richest man, you still buy a social media company and work 120 hours a week. Seriously, you have so much. Why do you need more? But it's just because the modes of material nature keep pushing. There is no end to it. Just like if you take a small boat and then take a plane, and then they will drive about 400 miles into Pacific Ocean, and then you are in that boat, and in that small boat, this is so peaceful. Nobody will say it. Everybody is scared because you don't know when the next wave will come, next shark will come. It's a constant, the ocean churn is going on. So if you are in this material world, be rest assured the churn is constant. No matter, you can get a small, okay, this small boat is useless. I know what I should do. I get a little bigger boat. Then my problems will solve. There will be at least bathroom in the bigger boat. But then the ocean is so vast. You can get an aircraft carrier. Still there will be problems. The best solution is find somebody who comes along, who throws a rope of mercy and get out of the ocean of material. world, or get out of the Pacific Ocean and come to the land where you'll be peaceful. Instead of trying to adjust your situation in ocean, left here, let's this, that. And that's what people do in the material world. Somehow I have this problem, I'll do this adjustment, this will work, this will adjust. And then things are just keep breaking. That's just the nature of this world. It's not nobody's fault. So when we take time to tell people about Bhagavad Gita, about spirituality, we are throwing that ocean, that rope to the people who are in the ocean. And that is the mode that we go. That's about it. There's nothing else, nothing no more to it. And when you go in that spirit, we are doing great work on behalf of Krishna. That's about it. Otherwise, if even because religious also now, there was a joke like, in India, you are an IAS officer, you make this kind of money. No, then be a politician, you make this kind of money. Really become a Babaji. So the whole idea is even the religion also has become, not everybody. I mean, I wouldn't want to categorize that. But but why everybody, even in ISKCON, there can be a tendency if you go to Krishna with a motive of material benefits, then there is a problem that you will be waylaid from the ultimate goal of life, which is pure bhakti to Krishna. So one should be little careful. And then that our only spirit is that we go and give Krishna to others. If they accept it, they accept it. They don't, they don't. But if I go with the motive that I want to be famous, I want people to, puja and labha and pratishtha, then the core mission is lost. There is no happiness neither for the preacher, and the audience can also feel that. It is not that audience, because human beings are so perceptive, so sensitive, they can see it. So that's the whole purpose program. Questions, comments, concerns?
You always have something. Because we look different, we behave different. So he's saying, what is wrong with being happy? Like boat you're talking about, what's wrong? Okay, let somebody else drive, take you out for a ride. There's nothing wrong. I mean, they come up with this kind of arguments, and it becomes very difficult to beat their argument also. They are well read, and so I always find it a little difficult to sometimes blend in.
Thank you for sharing. Praveen had a question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. What a wonderful topic of discussion. Amazing. Thank you, for this. I had a question. So, I'm not sure like where the faith, the whatever the seed of faith, right, comes from. Maybe that's a different topic. But my question is like whatever there is a little bit faith, right, for someone, then yes, you would engage, that person would engage in whatever services and whatnot, right, in one way or other way. But there is always that instinct, right, built in to kind of try to control things, right, and sort of move away from that faith for a moment or whatever, right, in the heat of the moment, right. How does one kind of get over that instinctive behavior or habits in a way, right, and then sort of leans more on the faith part?
So if I understand your question right, Praveen, you said, how do you deal with this sudden crisis of faith? Okay. I see. Good. Makes sense. And they're a little more difficult. Crisis of faith is a little more difficult. To come to Krishna consciousness itself is a little hard. Or having any sort of spirituality or faith in God is really, really hard. And to sustain that faith over a long time is more harder. Kali Yuga, little more harder, very harder. Kali Yuga and Silicon Valley, Kali Yuga plus Silicon Valley plus smart devices, gone case. Seriously, I was going on a walk today, and they were like this. This was little elderly couple. They maybe 50s, 60s. That both were walking. Both had their smartphones. Both were looking at their smartphones, and they were walking. I just prayed for them and said, "Thank you." So and so I do agree with you that crisis of faith is something that and it can happen sudden. It can one day morning you get up and like, what am I doing with this Hare Krishna stuff? It's all useless, bogus. One way to keep the faith is to there are two or three things. One thing is to have association of devotees who are having that kind of faith and who are really serious of going back. That's one thing. The second thing is we take shelter of a spiritual master and become a little more serious. And the third thing is for those who are very academically inclined, you can read books, but if you read too many books and too many theories, then your shake will faith. Your faith will shake a little bit because oh no, what? No. I need to do what is Sankhya, what is Yoga Mimamsa, what is six Kannada, Vaisheshika, what is this philosophy, what is that philosophy, I need to figure out. Our mind can't take, because the sages in the previous ages were much more smarter. Their logic, because you can put the finest logic in Sanskrit to how to become an atheist, and you will not be able to refute it. The arguments are such. Think about it. Shiva, Vishnu ordered Shiva, go to the world and preach Mayavad. The pernicious effect of Mayavad that you are God, and God when he comes, more importantly, God when he comes to this world, he is just like you and me. How many people it has gotten hold of their brains? Millions and millions of the followers. Aham Brahmasmi, you are Brahmasmi. And then end you will be Bhasmi. So to have I think simplicity is important. People, if you try to size up Krishna and try to yeah, maybe this angle, no, Krishna, I just surrender unto you, please protect me. A simple cry from the heart, that earnest cry, Krishna will notice much more than the 108 PhDs you have on like different religious topics. It doesn't make sense. Is that helpful a little bit? And then one last thing on that point is, if you have a mentor whom you can actually share your heart, reveal your heart, and who you can trust, especially in the circle of devotees, it's really valuable and important. And that person can, he or she can actually, help you. Is that helpful? No, thank you. Thank you. It's a very valid question, and it's a question people hesitate to ask because, oh my God, people will think I'm fallen person, I'm gone case, because yeah, I know devotees who made progress, who have taken serious, who have had mentors and who work with those mentors, and they have survived struggles through life, major challenges through their lives. Yeah, it's an amazing thing. So fortunately at ISV we have Vaisheshika Prabhu, we have Nirakula Mataji, and so many other devotees who you should take shelter of. And again, coming back to the same thing, they are not in for puja, labha, or pratishtha. They are not here to control. They are not here to manipulate. They are not here to feel, oh great, that people are approaching. It's not that kind of thing. The only thing they have is they are genuinely, they wish well for you. That's it, and they want to see you spiritually grow. Yeah, helpful. Okay. We have the two finest musicians. We can have Kirtan, and this is the, oh yes, and then so we can have like 10 minutes Kirtan, and then yeah, yeah, 10 to 15 minutes Kirtan, and then we have few more questions. If there is a car, you can go because your house is like not 100 miles, right? It is. It is. They can go and just tell Divya, and then you can see if Aradhya wants to come. But Avanish, no. You had question online. Yes, Garima had a question.
Okay, all the demons, like we have seen, are they are either Brahma's devotee or Shiva's devotee, but Vritasur is special, so like he is Vishnu devotee because of Chitraketu Maharaj. He was.
Correct. They are special personalities, even though born in the demoniac family. Their attitude is still being extremely devoted to Lord Vishnu. Prahlad is another case. He was born of a demon's father. Hiranyakashipu was a demoniac, Daitya. But Prahlad was like so devoted to Lord Vishnu. In fact, he opposed his own father when he tried to say, "Don't worship Vishnu, worship me." So then the question asked is, why are you born in a demoniac family? Why are you born? I mean, like, why do devotees are born in a demoniac family? That will be our next question, right? Bhagavatam says that bhakti is not dependent on one's birth. It's not like oh, you're born in a demoniac family, you can't do bhakti. No, bhakti is open for everyone, and that's what Bhagavatam teaches us. That bhakti is not dependent on one's birth, one's background, one's piety, or one's learning, or so on and so forth. These are very, very special cases. I'll leave it at that. The other thing is with Vitrasura, he didn't want to be born in a demoniac family. He was cursed by Mother Parvati. Oh, and I want to add that point. He was cursed by Mother Parvati that you become a demon, and Vritrasura, Maharaj Chitraketu at that time, he could have got angry. He could have got offended. Please understand that his goal was not to insult Lord Shiva. Acharyas say he was amazed. He was laughing at this situation where Lord Shiva was instructing with Parvati in his lap. He was laughing out of amazement. He was saying, look at this Lord Shiva. Who can actually keep their mind fixed on topic of high topic when you have your wife sitting on your lap? You are not even agitated in the slightest. And this is amazing. And his whole laugh was actually of admiration of Shiva, but Mother Parvati cursed him. And Chitraketu Maharaj could have said, this is unfair. You can do a whole drama on it. And you can say, I'll counter curse you, or your curse has no effect. He was that powerful to counteract Parvati's curse. But you know what he said? He said, whatever, even though I don't deserve this, I'll accept it. Thank you. And then Mother Parvati is like, what? You're not afraid? You're not scared? And then Shiva says that, Narayana Parasarve, that famous verse comes in. Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bibhyati. That who are Narayana exclusive devotees, they're not afraid of any situation. You put them in heaven, hell, or you give them liberation. It's one and the same. So it goes to prove that Maharaj Chitraketu was surrendered to Krishna and he was willing to accept that curse. And in the life of Vritrasura, that devotion is still burning, in his heart. Another point, Mata, here is that devotion to Vishnu never goes in vain. Life after life, whichever birth you are born, because everything else we give up and go. Really, every single thing. And we don't have no clue. It sometimes amuses me, people talk of my legacy. what will people think after I'm gone? I need to build, the presidents, ex-presidents, they build libraries and memorials and this and that and this. Arey Baba, when you come back, you don't even know who you are. God forbid that President Obama, he quits his body, and then because he's attached to United States, he will come back here into the world, and he walks into his own memorial center in Chicago. He will have no clue that this was mine. I was Obama in my previous life. And how do you know? Because Krishna in Arjuna, Bhagavad Gita says, Arjuna says, hey, you spoke to sun god this knowledge, but sun god was born millions of years ago. You are born recently. How do you know that you spoke this knowledge to sun god? Krishna says, I remember all the births. You don't remember. So which means we forget our births. Yes. So then what can we carry? What do we take when we leave? And that is our bhakti to Krishna. And that never goes. And Vritrasura's story tells us that the bhakti in the heart is never goes in vain. So when we have this life, to the best of our ability, we should perform bhakti to Krishna. And that will be our true 401k that we can take. Really, that is our only 401k. Otherwise, everything else will be like, yeah. I can get into Garuda Puran right now, but no, it's very, very scary.
Prabhuji, even that 401k has K in it.
Good one. Venu, that's excellent. Excellent.
So I think that's the most beautiful part about the 401k is the K inside it.
Excellent. It never struck me. Venu, that is just brilliant. Thank you.
All your grace, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other comments or concerns?
Not from us, Prabhuji. Wonderful verse. Are we going to do the last two verses as well? You said there are 4 verses and we only read 2.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I will do the last 2. Yes. After Simi Mataji's answering question, I'll do the last. Excellent. Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Venu, for reminding
I
me.
couldn't hear Simi Mataji, so my apologies. So sorry about that.
I don't know if I'll be able to say it very clearly, but
हिंदी
I'll try.
हिंदी में बोलिए या कुछ भी और कौन सा भी language.
You know, I'm saying for myself. So I feel
ठीक है. If she doesn't want to, I'll translate. No worries. No. Mm. 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 Mm.
And even though I know that, not know, but for fear
Mm.
that even if I'm not surrendering, still whatever is happening is happening. So I'm not comfortable. But still I'm scared to say, I'm saying it, but I'm still not taking the full benefit.
Mm. Mm.
Internal right.
Mm. Mm.
And I'm still not ready to let go of the materialistic world.
Mm.
Even though I know that is temporary,
Mm.
I know that happiness which is coming, which is also artificial and temporary, but still I'm not ready to let go. And how can I help myself or why?
Mm. One of the questions it's asked in Bhagavatam is that how did the small tiny jiva come into contact in the material world to start with? And without belaboring and going into deep controversial aspect of it, the scriptures say that our association with the material world is called, they just use one word, that's anadi. Means there is no point of time where we have come into this material world. We have been here practically since time immemorial. We don't even know how many births we have taken, billions and billions and billions upon births we have taken. And this world has become our own comfortable place. Frightening, scary, temporary it is. We are not ready to give it up yet because I find it comfortable here. And that's, it's one of the most familiar feelings that you can have because of being associated in this world for a long time. And the process of detaching ourselves from the world, Simimata, will take time. And it's okay to kind of feel that. It's perfectly natural to feel what you're feeling. In fact, it can be scary because the unknown that is there, or how much of shelter I have or I can take for Krishna, is not known to me yet. And it's okay to not, you know, to beat up yourself that you're not able to take full shelter of Krishna. But this you can say is, Krishna, I'm not able to, so please help me. And when time comes, you can internalize it. It will happen because you have, see, for last 20 years, you've been leading such a pious life. And why will not Krishna listen to you? You have been chanting the names of Krishna, and Krishna will listen to you, Mata. Definitely it will happen sooner than later. Because of that, because the reason I say is you have that sincerity within your heart. Why? Because if people are complacent, they'll say, I'm good. I go to temple once a week. I'll give some donation, chanda. I will do this. Because I don't see that complacency in you, Krishna will surely give you the mercy sooner than later. If you are complacent, then Krishna will say, all right, be where you are. But that urge, that deep urge that comes is the first sign that, you really want to progress in spiritual life. So yes, it will come sooner than later. And if it is a more private conversation, then we can take it offline as well. But thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And the most important thing, and I didn't make this up, Prabhupada writes, I did not, in the Krishna book, I did not read the preface. And he said that if you read Krishna book, then you will attain love of Godhead. So since you are having that eagerness to read, why wouldn't Krishna not listen? He will. That is assured. Thank you. Other questions? Praveenji. Actually, one thing is there. It is not okay to not ask. Because the Bhakti Vriksha is where you can just freely talk. The whole idea of having it at home is, it's not a temple atmosphere. You can be more freer.
So Prabhuji, I feel like from time to time that there is a very fine line between this, going back to the subject of faith, right? Having faith. But there's a very fine line between having faith and being sort of lazy or slacking, right? Oh, I have a faith in Krishna that Krishna will provide me. So how much I should put my effort in, really, doing my sincere effort, right? To earn or do whatever things that are necessary. And then that can be applied to many different aspects of life, right? And so a lot of times I have this kind of question in my mind: am I slacking, or am I overly like trying to put an effort, more effort than I should? So any guidance on that?
Excellent question. And if I understand your question right, Praveenji, is that where is the line between being lazy and complacent, and where is the line, and when are you over endeavoring and pushing it to the max? Arjuna was reluctant to fight the battle of Bhagavad Gita. He said to Krishna, Krishna, I will not fight. And then later we know the story of Bhagavad Gita and how Krishna shows the Vishwarup. He says that I've killed all your enemies. And then, oh, Krishna, thank you for killing the enemies. Now let me go home and go to Hawaii for vacation. Because enemies are killed by you. So for 18 days he fought. Relentlessly Arjuna fought on behalf of Krishna. In fact, Krishna's words encouraged him to fight more. So where we draw the faith, we'll do our duty. And over endeavoring will happen when I am sacrificing my health, my spiritual life, my family life, for pursuing my goals. And my health as well. If we are not doing that, and people do that, it's amazing. In the modern life, People have so much money, yet they don't have fresh food to eat. They don't cook food to eat. I mean, not devotees. We do that. But just think about it. Day and night you are working. You eat junk food. Your health is spoiling. I'm like, why are you working? What is your purpose of working? It's so do the best you can. And people have tendencies. If you are not spiritually advanced, then you have tendencies. Have your own swabhava or nature. Of, for example, if you are a business nature, then you like to start your own company, and you enjoy, not enjoy, but that's your proclivity to do it. So do it. But then the foundation should be dharma. In all places, Krishna says 3 things will lead you to hell. One is greed, lust, and anger. So that is the lowest common denominator for anyone. And you have that in place and then build upon it. Because, I am a businessman, then if you are too greedy, and I've seen markups, crazy markups. I mean, it's like there is a sale 70% off. 70% off का sale है तो इतना ही है क्या? Or others, how are you able to sell at 70% off? Because you're so greedy that 3 or 4 or 5 times the markup. Why? This is greed. So we have that dharma in place, and then you can build upon it. But the modern world, dharma is taken the back seat. Artha, kama, moksha. What moksha? No moksha. Or my only moksha. So you can see. So does it help a little bit? Yeah. And in the spiritual path, when we take initiation, we say we'll chant 16 rounds, and that will take certain time every day, and that is non-negotiable. Whatever happens, I will chant my rounds. Even I'm a CEO or President of United States, doesn't matter. That's all my duty. I need to do it. And because when I chant, then I get the strength to do my duty by Krishna's mercy, and I can do it right, make the right decision, and Krishna will make sure that one thing, another thing will happen. So he will take care. So in a nutshell, I forget that saying. Work as if result depends on something. I'll get back to that. That saying. It's a nice saying, I thought. Thank you. Definitely not like you work 120 hours because you bought a social media company. That's just over endeavor for no reason. You barely see your family, you sleep in the office. What's the point of life? Not that I have anything against or for. It's no. Actually, when I read it, I'm fascinated. People run after money, but when you get money, are you getting peace? I'll leave it at that. Any other points? Okay. It's 8:23. It was such a cozy, intimate setting. It's sometimes, people might get disappointed. Oh, I need large numbers of people. I'm like, whatever Krishna sends, we'll have. This is the coziness of. Sometimes this is a luxury as well. It's nice. Tejas, you want to add anything? All right. Please do a little bit of kirtan. Yes. Venu will be happy if I do the 2 verses. So those are. Thank you, Achyut Kumar Prabhu, for reminding me. That is 6:11:27. We did do. Yeah, 26. We 26. We did before, but we'll do it for the sake of 26. We'll do it again. Ajatapaksha iva matharam khagaha stanyam yatavat satarakshudartaha Priyam priyeva vyushitam vishanna manoravindakshadidrikshate tvam. Um, Tejas, translation please, just the translation.
As baby birds that have not yet developed their wings always look for their mother to return and feed them. As small calves tied with ropes await anxiously the time of milking, when they will be allowed to drink the milk of their mother. Whereas a morose wife whose husband is away from the home who's away from home always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects. I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you.
Thank you. The last verse. Mamottama-shloka-janeshu sakhyam samsara-chakre bhramata swakarmabhi tvanmayayatma-atmajadarageshu asakta-chittasya nanata bhuyaha. Who didn't get a chance to read? Yes, Garima. She didn't get a chance to read.
Translation. Translation by Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O my Lord, O my Master, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my fruitive activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy, but I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you.
Nice. So here, I said like the verse Nanaka Prishtam na Chaparamishna. I said you guys are mental because you are not even asking for liberation. And here he's just saying the same thing. Wherever I have to take birth, I'll take birth again. My force of my karma, by my force of karma, I'm not even demanding that you give me liberation, but it's your choice. Wherever my karma takes, please let me go. But only thing is, please give me this, Mamottama Shloka Janeshu Sakyam, that give me association of your devotees. Yes. Achyut Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, thank you for this verse. Here it is, Vritrasura is saying, my attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is continuing by the spell of your external energy. So, but he is such a elevated devotee. He saw Lord Sankarsana face to face, and he has gone through one life with a curse, and he is unagitated. And yet he is saying that he is still continuing by the spell of, the attachment is continuing by the spell of Lord's external energy. So will that continue, Prabhu, even in that stage? Is he too humble or? Yeah.
That's the thing. Because a devotee never thinks that I have become liberated now. God, okay, it's time. I'll make a call to God. Yes, I'm liberated. Can you take me back, please? Never happens because we just say that Maya Devi is so strong. And we just pray to Krishna. I'm still a person in this material world. Please, you know, whatever you want. I'm petitioning, submitting my soul to you, or I'm submitting myself to you as a petition. Now it's in your case. You are the judge. You stamp me wherever you want to. I'll just send. Even Maharaj Parikshit. He is called Bhagavatottama. He is called the topmost of the devotees. It's mentioned that he attained perfection by hearing Bhagavatam for how many days? And night he was sleeping for 8 hours, correct? 7 days, 7 nights. And what sort of feast he must have eaten in those 7 days, 7 nights. What sort of what sort of drinks he must have had? Exactly, for 7 days, for 7 nights. He didn't eat, he didn't drink water, he didn't sleep, and he was listening to Bhagavatam. He says the same, and he attained perfection. He says the same thing. Exactly same like Vritrasura. He says that, "Oh Lord, you know, this unlimited creation of yours, I can be placed anywhere. So if you want, place me anywhere." He asks for three things. Should I tell you what those three things are? Because he was the emperor of the whole wide world. He didn't have to worry about re-election campaign. No funds for raising re-elections because he was the emperor for lifetime. He didn't have to worry about judiciary and executive and Congress and Senate pass nothing. He was a judge, jury, and executioner. If he had to kill somebody, he would kill. And he enjoyed this earth for so much time. And he was cursed to die cursed by Shringi. And then he didn't protest. He never said, "God, this is too much. I did everything for you, and now you are just." For 7 days he listened. He asked only for three things when he says. He says, "Punascha bhuyat bhagvat kyanante." He says, Rati prasangat. First thing he wants is deep attachment to your pastimes. Prasangat, whatever. They just keep me correct in Sanskrit, okay? So he says rati is like deep attachment. Prasangat is to your topics, to deep attachment to your topics. And tada, so punascha bhuyat bhagavati anante rati prasangat cha tadashrayeshu. That give me the shelter of your devotees. And then last thing he says is give me good relationships. Give me friendly relationships. Maitrastu sarvatra namo vijayabhya. I want friendly relationships with all the living entities. So these are the three things he asks. So it is the same, the Bhagavatam repeats that same topic of unalloyed devotion to Krishna. Is that helpful? All right. Yes, please. Not okay to not ask.
So, Prabhu, I'm trying to chant these days with attention, and when the days the attentive chanting is there, it is good. The whole day is good. There is happiness of chanting, and things are fine. But there are days where the intention is still to chant attentively, but like it is not possible. So, is there any tips, Prabhu, to chant attentively?
We live in Silicon Valley where we have releases, we have work pressures. Sometimes they keep you at night. Sometimes children are sick. Sometimes you are sick. Sometimes there are guests at home that you spend talking. So the point is there could be a million reasons why we might not be able to wake up at the time we need to wake up to get our 16 rounds done. But to the best of our abilities, if we can wake up and really attentively chant our rounds in the morning, it is best. But if not, then the sankalpa should be there that, this, I didn't chant my 16 rounds, I could chant only 8 rounds. Now, what's my plan of action for completing the 8 rounds? Where am I carving out my time? And that time is important. If that doesn't happen, usually mind gets so absorbed in other things over the day that gets like at 11 o'clock, you're like, so you have that plan in place. That's all I ask. Then we should be able to find time. Okay, I look at the calendar, I say, okay, there is 1 hour no meeting. Probably I can squeeze something like that. I mean, everybody has their own. Is that helpful? Thank you. Other questions? Comments? Karima Mataji, yes.
Prabhuji, so we see example of Maharaj Parikshit, Vritasur. So we feel very like bad inside us that if something happens to us, like little bit problems also come, we feel like, oh, why me?
Mm.
And then so sometimes I feel, oh, we have, like I feel like is my faith not proper? Like why I'm feeling so morose or dull because of this? And when I hear all these, so I feel like, okay, they are also eternal associate, and our aim also to be eternal associate. So how can we think of becoming them? Like I don't think in this life I can. If ever my problems will come, I'm like, I raise my hands and I started like Maru and say, Krishna, please take away all the problem. I cannot concentrate on reading. I cannot concentrate on chanting. I cannot do anything. You have to take away. So what should be our mood? And I feel bad. And if somebody will do that to me, like all these, I will feel so bad. Like I will say bad things also. So how to make that, what should be path, like what are the easy things we can do so our intention can become like that? Or
I think the first thing is we accept the fact that things can go wrong with me. Things can happen to me which I do not want to happen. When we have that foundation, that expectation in life that things can be negative with me as well, that's a good starting point. Okay, now that is established, let me see what problems come. And as you so rightly pointed out, not every problem everybody can handle. And oh, it's not a problem, I'll handle it. One problem comes from here, you're like, okay, I can still survive. One every in the pressure builds up, and somewhere it just says, God, why me? It just happens like that. One thing is, we can definitely ask Krishna for help. Krishna, it's not, please give me problems, but please also give me strength to tolerate. Don't not give me problems, but please give me strength to tolerate the problems. That's the best way to ask Krishna. And the second thing you can ask Krishna is, what is the lesson you are trying to teach me with this problem? Instead of saying, why me? What's the lesson for me here? How can I grow from this? You have some reason why you have put me into this situation. Why? Or what is the lesson I can learn? Please give me that. Oftentimes it's difficult. Honest, it's Vaishesh Prabhu told that in the class, that it's, instead of asking why me, ask what's the lesson in for me. And I tried doing that. It was not an easy thing to kind of get that answer from Krishna immediately. So just give some time, and then if you have some spiritual mentors, Garima Mataji, please do reach out to them. Talking to somebody and sharing your problems, it'll truly help. Truly help. And but the other thing is, problems will seem painful at the present, but when you look them in the rear view mirror, when they pass long, then you will see that it was conditional response, or a time response at that point of time. For example, I'll tell a small story and I'll stop. There was a farmer. He was a very stoic person. He would not he would not go high when things were nice, and he wouldn't go like depressed, morose when things were then. He was like normal, even person. So one day he had a horse. He just had one horse. And one day that horse went into the forest for some reason. And it somehow befriended 5 more wild horses that were in the forest. And all the horses came back to this farmer. Neighbor said, wow, this is amazing. This is wonderful. Instead of one horse, you have 6 horses now. It's great. And then the farmer said, okay, great. It worked out. Then they're wild horses. They need to be tamed. So his farmer's son was working on those horses, trying to tame them. And one horse, wild horse that it was, it like just took off at high speed and just was not under the control while the son was riding it, and it threw the son off from its back. The son fell down and fractured his leg. Wild horses tend to do that, yes sir. And then the neighbors came. Oh, your son is having fracture. I wish that you never had that horses to come with. The farmer said, "Oh, I'll deal with it, it comes." Then, after some time, the king's soldiers come, because like the Russia-Ukraine war, Russia is losing people, and they came to find new, fresh people. They can pull the soldiers into the war. And they started rounding up the young men of the village and pushing them to become soldiers on the war. And they came and they looked at this fellow. His leg was broken. He couldn't fight the war. They said, okay, we are not going to take your son. And then the neighbors came back and said, oh, that's great. Because of this, So you can see one incident, the time will actually reveal the purpose of why that happened. And the only time is if we can somehow tolerate that aspect without losing our sanity. And it's a practice. We build that muscle. It's not immediate. First time we are, then the second time slowly, when you build up, then when you get the calmness, later you will realize what happened was not that bad. Just like that. Is that helpful a little bit? So they say, time will like change it. Other questions, comments? Yes.
Like Krishna, without Krishna, everything is hell, and with Krishna, everything is heaven.
Yes. Thank you.
Take away from me.
Wonderful. Very nice. Thank you. Ravinji, you had one thing.
I just had a comment, Prabhuji. Just listening to different pastimes that we just discussed or touched upon today and previously as well, like the pure devotees or the very advanced devotees, they always long for association they just want to serve Krishna, and they long for association of devotees in one way or other. And there are so many examples of that. And I was just thinking that it's inconceivable for someone who is just starting in the devotional practice to even understand what that love is for Krishna. And so that was just my reflection. Like, in order to even understand those pastimes, it's just beyond at least my capacity to understand that there can be such kind of love. Like when Kunti Maharani says that, hey, I want life after life where I could just serve you and whatnot, right? And many other things that we know. Just amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because the reason why devotees want Krishna is Krishna can give anything, and the devotees say, no, we want you. But Krishna will say, if you want me, then you know what? I'll test you. Because it is said in Bhagavatam, if you want liberation, he'll give like nothing. But if you want bhakti, then he will actually test you, because Krishna will become your subordinate. Like he became Arjuna's subordinate in Bhagavad Gita. He drove chariot driver. So yeah. Anything else? Yes, you are hungry. Yeah. All right. We can have a little bit of kirtan and then we can stop. 10 minutes. Is that okay? Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, there is an online
Question?
Sita and Venu, I think they
Yes.
also.
Yes.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I was about to take my hand lower, but I have one question. So I was listening to the conversation, and it somehow feels that there is that devotion and spirituality have become transactional. Like, if I do this, I will get that. I think if we cut that link off and just don't worry about, just like the Karmanya Vadikaraste verse, right, Prabhu? So we need to do spirituality as our duty, and then get everything else, right? That's what I was thinking, that the expectation that I would become a very good devotee or a very bad devotee, or if I won't become a good devotee. I think if you sever that link, and
Yeah.
don't worry about all the other stuff. Maybe that will probably help to not think of it as a transaction. It's not a transaction. There is nothing that Krishna gains from this. He's just ever giving, is what I was thinking. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Prabhu.
No, it's a very nice, very nice words that you shared. It is just Krishna says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papi. So here in one sense it seems transactional because I surrender to Krishna and in expectation I am protected by Krishna, and there are Krishna's words. So to feel protected by Krishna actually is one of the items of surrender. So because if you don't have that taste or feeling of being surrendered, right, Venu, so you might lose faith after some time. But if I have to serve Krishna materially for some material motives, then it becomes transactional.
Sure, that makes sense, Prabhuji. I
Okay.
think you're absolutely right. I love that verse, by the way. It's one of my most favorite verses.
Thank you. And because otherwise, for example, in Ramayana, Jatayu, he fought for Lord Ram, but why didn't Ram protect him? But if you can see the other side, Jatayu died in the arms of Lord Ram, and Lord Ram performed his Antakriya, the supreme absolute truth, like doing it as your son. Who can get a better fortune than that? So yeah, what he does is absolute, whether he punishes or protects. So, but we say that yeah, makes sense. Anything other point, Venu?
No, Prabhuji, I think this was a wonderful discussion. Thank you for actually, entertaining, encouraging us to actually read this. I actually have a lot of, we read it in the morning, like one verse, and I think that one verse actually, whatever it is, it actually just makes our day. It's
Nice.
one of the most treasured times in the morning for us now.
Wonderful. Verse of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam?
So Sita reads one verse of the Bhagavad Gita, and she's gone through like a couple of books. Once I think she did the Prabhupada's interpretation of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. I'm reading the Bhagavatam, so
Nice.
I'm at like Canto 4 now.
Amazing.
And I think Canto number 1 is my most favorite book to read. Actually, it is the deepest book I've ever picked up in my life. Actually,
Beautiful.
it's a really amazing set of instructions.
Thank you, Venu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Are there any final thoughts? Okay. All right. ठीक है. Navneet, all yours.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Last time. Hare Krishna. Tanki Jai. Vriksha, beta, can you come please? Don't know, son. कृष्णा जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है। कृष्णा जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है। कृष्णा जिनका नाम है, गोकुल जिनका धाम है। ऐसे श्री भगवान को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है। यशोदा जिनकी मैया है, नंद जी बापैया है। ऐसे श्री गोपाल को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। ऐसे राधा जिनकी जया है, अद्भुत जिनकी माया है। राधा जिनकी जया है, अद्भुत जिनकी माया है। ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। ऐसे श्री घनश्याम को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। लुट लुट दही माखन खायो, ग्वाल वाला संग धेनु चरायो। घी माखन खायो, ग्वाल बाला संग धेनु चरायो। ऐसे लीला धाम को मेरे बार बार प्रणाम है। लीला धाम को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। द्रुपद सुत को लज्जा बचायो, ग्रह से गज को फंदा छुड़ायो। द्रुपद सुत को लाज बचायो, गज से गज को फंदा छुड़ायो। ऐसे कृपा धाम को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। ऐसे कृपा धाम को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। कुरु पांडव को युद्ध मचायो, अर्जुन को उपदेश सुनायो। ऐसे दीननाथ को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। नाथ को मेरे बारंबार प्रणाम है। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। राधे गोविंदा राधे गोपाला राधे गोविंदा राधे गोपाला राधे गोविंदा राधे गोपाला। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। भज रे भज गोविंद गोपाला हरे। He will have to play.
दायिने हिरण्याकाशे पूर्वक्षः हिरण्याकाशे पूर्वक्षः शिलाटङ्कनखालये शिलाटङ्कनखालये इतो नृसिंह परतो नृसिंहो इतो नृसिंह परतो नृसिंहो यतो यतो यामि ततो नृसिंह यतो यतो यामि ततो नृसिंह बहे नृसिंहो हृदये नृसिंहो बहे नृसिंहो हृदये नृसिंहो नरसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपद्ये नृसिंहमादिं शरणं प्रपद्ये तव करकमलवरे नखम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गाम् ललिता हिरण्यकशिपो केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे तव करकमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गाम् केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे कमलवरे नखाम् अद्भुतशृङ्गाम् ललिता हिरण्यकशिपो तनुभृङ्गा केशवधृता नरहरिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद जय प्रभुपाद निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय।